Yes.
My name is Nabil Kamal. Being born in Egypt, I welcome you very much to Egypt. It will be a blessing to the land of Egypt to step in it. My question regarding the persistent point which being many people asked about the replacement of the going monetary system. I am engineer, I'm not economist, but if you will be accepting, just try to explain the question because it will be difficult to explain it.
What do you want to do?
The idea, if I may explain, it's based on if the American economy system or the American system of economy base the value on the human input in anything being produced. Therefore, I'm suggesting a monetary system which is being exercised right now on the credit card system. There is a sort of organization which is using the computer facility to give credit debit to individual or organization. Therefore, if we can establish interest-free, currency-less, time-based exchange system. When I say currency-less, from the experience which we have been experiencing in all kind of black market trading, such as prostitution or drugs or else, that's because of the availability of recognized currency can be exchanged under the table. Therefore, if we can use the same technique and the same system like the Visa or MasterCard or whatever to establish credit central bank, which maintain the credit and debit record for the individual and the producing organization. And this organization will have a line connected directly with the credit control central bank to have the right to exchange. The whole idea of the system that any transaction will be over the table and nothing under the table. Therefore, I insist of the currency-less and time-based exchange system, meaning that the currency will become year, a month, a week, a day, an hour, and minute, and so on. I would like to hear your opinion about such idea.
All right, fine, got you. Well, what you've outlined here, which essentially is a cooperative banking credit arrangement. Let me just indicate what it does not cover, because I think that's what you're getting at. There's nothing wrong in the sense of what you're proposing here as a, well, you could even have an interest rate in it, but you're talking about a non-usurious credit circulation system for a cooperative community, essentially, of who are participating in this kind of arrangement. That kind of thing works. That is of normal banking. That's normal, fairly moral kinds of private banking. But the problem we're addressing with this crisis is different. You need another source of credit in addition to this kind of credit. This is the private side of the credit system. You need a public credit system. The point here is that society must grow. In particular, we're now with nations are all in reduced circumstances. But on the one hand, I have reduced circumstances and needs. And on the other hand, we have unemployed people or people who are improperly employed as opposed to what they should be employed at. And we have some degree of capacity which is relatively idle or which could be built up fairly rapidly. Now, our objective is expansion, not to merely to recycle credit. Therefore, we need a source of credit which is in excess of the credit which could be obtained aggregately from all private saving sources. The problem we are about to face, and we already face implicitly, most people are bankrupt today. Most people's savings and pensions are gone, or they are, if we examine the process, they are implicitly gone. Now, in terms of government, or my advice to the United States government and other governments, I say, they're going to say, what am I going to do? I said, you're going to meet the pensions, the pension payments as they come due. And they say, how can we do that? If you say we're bankrupt, how are we going to do that? We're going to pay them anyway. And what we're going to do is this, is we're going to generate fiat money. Under the U.S. Constitution, Article 1, the power of the Congress and the monopoly under our Constitution of the power of Congress to create money. That money will not be spent by the government directly. It will not be money you print to buy. It will be money you print to loan. So we are going to loan to selected projects in a dirigistic, you might say, Gaullist way, the way de Gaulle did somewhat. We're going to loan the money where it's needed. We're going to reorganize financial institutions, including pension funds, so the pension funds are going to get a new source of income. We're going to do that by recycling through the growth of the economy as a whole. We are going to do that largely through large-scale public works projects, which in the case of the United States will involve trillions of dollars of projects. For example, we need a new rail system. I say the United States needs a magnetic levitation rail system, coast to coast, and we need to increase the depth so that every community is served. And this all goes for Canada as well. It goes also for the Middle East, but let's take just the United States as an example to illustrate the problem I'm discussing. We need an inland waterway system. Our inland waterway system has gone to pot. The Erie Canal should be functioning. Otherwise, the function for which the Erie Canal was created is still needed. You still need economical barge traffic into central New York if central New York is to function efficiently, as well as an efficient rail system. You need to bring the communities of the United States back into competitive economic functioning, like the rural communities or the quasi-rural communities, which are now collapsing and have been collapsing since the beginning of deregulation in 1978, 1979, especially after the Volcker measures. So we've got to do that. We're going to have to rebuild the Mississippi and the entire water system. We have water potential or growth potential in the western United States, but the land is not usable because the aquifers are collapsing and we don't have enough water. We have enough water in Canada. It's silly to move water from the central United States, where you have these quasi-desertified regions, from the Colorado Basin into Los Angeles. Can you think of anything more idiotic than taking fresh water from Utah and the Colorado Basin to feed the water requirements of Los Angeles? If those bums want fresh water, let them desalinate. They've got a Pacific Ocean right out there. Do you realize that this country has not built a new city since before World War I, to speak of, except Los Alamos and a few places like that? We've got all that land out there that's not developed. We've got potential agricultural land and reserve land for the future of our children where they need that land. To have it developed, to make it reserve land, to forest it, to put cover on it, to get some water in there, to create new cities, to develop this country which is underdeveloped. We have a need. We talked about hospitals. We need a hospital system according to Hill-Burton standards, which delivers what is needed in terms of health care facilities to every part of this United States. We're talking about trillions of dollars of work to be done and no savings to buy it with. at a time when savings are wiped out. So we're going to have to create a money system from scratch, and there's nobody to loan money. The government will have to generate the cash, take over the banks, because they're all bankrupt, force the bankers to stay functioning there, or we'll get a farmer to take over the place of the banker to... Get the credit out, give the credit to whoever has a state, federal, local authority which is approved project, to get the credit, to meet the payroll, to buy the materials, to get the capital equipment, to get the project going, just like a war contract. Then the private contractors who come in and get accepted bids on the basis they think they can perform, let the local bankers, local officials decide. They come into a bank with a contract. They've got a contract. We will have the bank guaranteed by the national banking system of the United States. We'll deliver the credit to cover the payrolls on time, to cover the materials bills on time, and to buy the authorized equipment they need to do the job. On the basis we are going to generate credit. Now, at the point we do that through the national bank, then the kind of talking about then comes into play. Then you want people who are going to be as entrepreneurs, set up under federal regulation or state charters to set up banks or to reopen banks that are closing, to take them over, to run them on the basis of saying, we have a covenant under which this thing is going to operate and it's going to perform this way. Then the kind of idea you're talking about, somebody comes in and says to a state, we would want to do this. They'll say, okay, we'll give you a try. See if you can do it. Then we'll work.
I appreciate very much the answer, but I think what I meant here, Credit Control Central Bank, is not any private, in any way, a private setup. What I meant, it's federal setup, and I will appreciate at the end of the session if I can have 2 minutes talking with yourself. At the end of,
yeah, okay.
At the end of the session, if you can permit me 2 minutes to discuss it.
Okay.
Thank you. Therefore, I'm suggesting a monetary system which is being exercised right now on the credit card system. There is a sort of organization which is using the computer facility to give credit debit to individual or organization. Therefore, if we can establish
Yes.
My name is Nabil Kamal, being born in Egypt. I welcome you very much to Egypt. It will be a blessing to the land of Egypt to step in it. My question regarding the persistent point which being made, if we can establish interest-free, currency-less, time-based exchange system. When I say currency-less, from the experience which we have been experiencing in all kind of black market trading, such as prostitution or drugs.
What do you want to do?
The idea, if I may explain, it's based on if the American economy system, or the American system of economy, base the value on the human input in anything being produced. Many people asked about the replacement of the going monetary system. I am engineer, I'm not economist, but if you will be accepting just chart to explain the question, because it will be difficult to explain it.